Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain TXP and today is the 14th of August 2023 and unfortunately guys, the number in stablecoins is absolutely ridiculous, which is a bit strange because last week there were so many news regarding stablecoins. We had Ripple getting into stablecoins, we had this massive PayPal news regarding them getting into stablecoins, and even Hedera Hashgraph. They actually did go live on YouTube and they were talking about the benefits of stablecoins, and most likely Hedera Hashgraph will be getting into stablecoins as well. Now, keeping all these things in mind, it is really strange that the volume in stablecoins is absolutely ridiculous. And to be honest, guys, the last 24 hours might just be the lowest volume in stablecoins in 2023. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go out and discuss that in detail. And guys, we'll also be discussing some news regarding Michael Saylor, because he actually was in a podcast and he actually talked about the benefits of centralization of Bitcoin. Definitely not ideal. And guys, listen, I'm not a massive fan of Michael Saylor. The only thing what he's great at is buying Bitcoin, and that is only because he is a multimillionaire, maybe even a billionaire. And unfortunately, guys, a lot of the information that he provides, let's say via Twitter, is definitely not right. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss his stance on centralization of Bitcoin. Definitely not ideal. And in the podcast, he actually focuses on three things. That is technical factors, political factors, and natural factors. And if you are a massive advocate of Michael Saylor, you definitely need to do more research on what Bitcoin is. So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that in today's episode. And guys, on the final week of July, there was this massive exploit on Core Finance, and there were indications that over $100 million of DeFi protocol will be impacted. But looks like the platform has some update, and they did actually post some real crucial information via Twitter. And look guys, if you're someone who's affected by it, what I'd really recommend you to do is make sure you go ahead and follow their tweet, because looks like 70% of the funds that were affected by the hack are definitely going to be recovered. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that. And guys, since the last few months, there's massive news regarding Bitcoin ETF. Now we do have some update regarding Bitcoin ETF, but this is more to do with ARK Investment and 21 shares, and looks like the SEC is actually delaying their proposal. So we'll definitely go ahead and explore what that news is all about. And there was some slight anticipation of the first Bitcoin ETF to be approved. And no, I'm not talking about the BlackRock ETF. I'm talking about the ARK Investment ETF. So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that in today's episode. And guys, like we do in every Crypto and Coffee Day podcast, we are going to be discussing two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news is about 2454, which is a firm in Abu Dhabi, and they have unveiled Metaverse-enabled film production studio in Abu Dhabi. And guys, when I was trying to look at my licenses for my podcasting, I definitely did look at 2454. So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss this news in today's episode. And the second news is all the way from Abu Dhabi as well. And this is a firm called as 42 Abu Dhabi. And they did actually host a session on blockchain technology and cloud engineering in collaboration with leading entities. So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that in today's episode. And sessions such as this is definitely needed in order to go ahead and educate the people on the benefits of blockchain technology, but it's also critical to understand that you truly understand the limitations of blockchain technology as well. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that. And guys, what I've been doing since the past few months is, in my Crypto and Coffee Day podcast, before we look at the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, I'm trying to break down one project or protocol. And in today's episode, we would look at Pax Dollar, and we'll go ahead and discuss who the founders of Pax Dollar are, what makes it unique, and more importantly, how is the Pax Dollar or USDP network secured. So quite a lot to cover guys in today's episode. Let's get started with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee Update, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee Update has something for you. Our expert host will provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us, from the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies. We'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee at 8. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee at 8, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee a Day, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee at 8 aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE and Middle East region. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the Blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE, so definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing and hosting training workshops, seminars and community events that educate, inform and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Saylor Group, a luxury retail and distributor which is headquartered in Dubai, are getting into the NFT game. And here's the deal, guys. They are not just getting into the NFT and metaverse space, they are going to be shaping the NFT, metaverse and Web 3.0 space, which I believe is excellent not just for Dubai and UAE, but also for the global cryptocurrency community as well. And guys, Saylor Group's Web 3.0 sneaker brand called Soulmates revealed their first NFT collection on the 12th of April. Now what is really interesting is that it's called as Soulmates, so it's spelled as S for sugar, O for orange, L for Larry. Now instead of E, they've replaced it with Web3, and it is the number 3, mates.xyz. And guys, listen, Saylor Group has over half a century's worth of experience in luxury goods, and them getting into the NFT space is a massive deal. Now if you're a sneakerhead, you definitely need to check out soulmates.xyz. And once again, guys, the number is 3 instead of an E. It has all the information, and in the show notes below, you'll get all the information. And listen, guys, if you want to be an early adopter, you can also pre-mint it at www.premint.xyz/soulmates. So definitely check it out. And they have a Discord community as well. And guys, Nick, who is the head of corporate innovation at Saylor Group and also the co-founder of Soulmates, has a WhatsApp group where he constantly provides updates in the area of NFTs, Metaverse and Web 3.0. So guys, check out soulmates.xyz and be part of the Soulmates OG NFT that is definitely going to shape the industry. Next, Startup OI is global one tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, since we've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market, because as of today, 14th of August, it is at $1.18 trillion. Now mind you guys, I'm looking at the price in the early hours in Dubai, and it is very likely that it is still late Sunday in the western part of the world, and as of today, it is at $1.18 trillion, and the global cryptocurrency market is marginally up by 0.22%. The total cryptocurrency market volume is ridiculously low at $17.4 billion. As a matter of fact, since the last 24 hours, it is down by 4.69%. The DeFi volume is not looking good either. It is at $2.02 billion, and the total value locked, guys, is $42.08 billion. And Lido is still dominating so far as DeFi protocol is concerned, and its volume is 15.16%. And unfortunately, guys, the decentralized exchange to centralized exchange dominance is absolutely horrendous. And because it is a weekend, I was under the anticipation that people will be using more decentralized exchanges, let's say in opposition to centralized exchange, and that is definitely not true. So it looks like over the weekend, people are actually using more centralized exchanges, and the decentralized exchange to centralized exchange dominance is 6.94%, and DeFi, guys, as of today, accounts for 11.60% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now guys, let's look at the 24-hour volume of DeFi protocols. The first protocol, guys, is Uniswap, and its 24-hour volume is $310.14 million. PancakeSwap is number 2nd, and its volume is $160.46 million. Maverick Protocol at number 3rd at $76.51 million. And Core Finance, guys, at $52.97 million. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, we definitely have some update regarding Core Finance, and looks like people who lost some money in the exploit are definitely going to be refunded or reclaim some of their funds. So we'll definitely go and explore that. And the number 5th protocol, guys, for the very first time is a protocol called as ThorSwap, and its 24-hour volume is $47.81 million. Now guys, let's quickly look at the volume of stablecoins, because to be honest, guys, this just might be the lowest volume since 2023. And to be honest, guys, I'm a bit perplexed, because last week there was so much news regarding stablecoins, so really I'm not sure what is going on in the world of stablecoins. Now, since the last 24 hours, the volume of all stablecoins is down to $16.08 billion. And listen to this, guys, despite the volume being ridiculously low, stablecoins is accounting for 92.40% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. I'm just hoping that there's some not heavy manipulation or there is some upper hand manipulating the stablecoin volume. Definitely not ideal. Now out of the $16.08 billion, Tether USDT is accounting for $12.71 billion, Circle USDC is at $1.62 billion, and listen to this guys, the 24-hour volume of Binance BUSD is less than $1 billion again, and in 2023, as a matter of fact in the history of Binance BUSD, this just might be the second time where the volume of Binance BUSD is less than $1 billion, and it is down to $870 million. Definitely not ideal. Now guys, let's look at the market cap, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and looks like Bitcoin's market cap is well below the $600 billion mark, and it is at $572 billion. Ethereum's market cap is $223 billion. The 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin and Ethereum are extremely low. Bitcoin is $6.6 billion, whereas Ethereum is less than $2.5 billion, and it is down to $2.35 billion. To be honest guys, the 24-hour volume for Ethereum might just be the lowest in 2023. Now the dominance of Bitcoin is 48.65%, and the dominance of Ethereum is 18.90%. Now this week guys, what I'm going to be looking at is the volume of decentralized apps. So I'll be looking at two things. The first thing that I'll be looking at is the fiat value of incoming token transfers from unique active wallets to decentralized app smart contract over a period of time. And as I mentioned earlier guys, in dappradar.com, when they're mentioning period of time, I definitely am hoping that they're looking at 24 hours. And then guys, I'm also going to be comparing it with the number of unique active wallets interacting or performing transactions with decentralized app smart contract over a period of time, aka 24 hours. So the most used decentralized apps across all blockchain protocol is Uniswap, and the fiat value I'm hoping for the last 24 hours is $1.81 billion, and the number of unique active wallets interacting or performing transactions with decentralized app smart contract for Uniswap version 3 is 34,690. Now mind you guys, when you're looking at the unique active wallets, it could be possible that there is just one smart contract. So in DappRadar, it might just show the number 1, but in that smart contract, there might be tens, hundreds, or even thousands of people interacting with the smart contract. So I just thought I'll put it out there. The second protocol is PancakeSwap version 3, and so far as the dollar amount is concerned, it is $101 billion. Now mind you guys, I'm talking about all decentralized apps working across all blockchain protocol, and some of them are working on different blockchain protocols as well. So check out the difference guys. The number 1 is Uniswap version 3, the volume is $1.81 billion, and the second one is PancakeSwap version 3, and the volume is less than 1/10 at $101 million. Now it could be possible that because it is a weekend, that is one of the reasons why the volume is low. But listen guys, we talk about decentralization, and the cryptocurrency world does not sleep, and it is on 24/7, 365 days. Unfortunately, over the weekend, the numbers are definitely not looking good. So it looks like the ideologies are definitely not merging with what is going on in the real world. So it is definitely something to think about. Now the third protocol is Stargate, and the volume is $90.9 million, and the number of unique active wallets interacting or performing transactions with decentralized app smart contract is 91,960, and the number of people interacting with PancakeSwap version 3 is 67,910. Now the fourth protocol is PancakeSwap version 2, and the fiat value is $89.01 million, and the number of people interacting with the decentralized app smart contract is 60,640. And finally guys, the number 5 decentralized apps among all blockchain protocol is Balancer, and the dollar value is $88.96 million, and the number of unique active wallets interacting or performing transactions with decentralized app smart contract is 2,040. Now guys, before we look at the king of all kings, let's quickly go and explore what Pax Dollar is. So as we know guys, Pax Dollar or USDP is a stable coin, and it is a type of cryptocurrency that is designed to have a stable value. And as we know guys, that the value of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin can be extremely volatile, stable coins actually do aim to maintain a consistent value, and they often peg to a real world assets, let's say like a US dollar, and this is where Pax Dollar kicks in. And Pax Dollar was created by Charles Cascarilla and Rich Teo, and Charles Cascarilla guys has a strong financial background and co-founded Paxos, and Rich Teo has experience in finance and military service, which did actually contribute to the creation of Pax Dollar as well. Now let me very briefly explain the stability and the backing mechanism for Pax Dollar, because the main goal of Pax Dollar is to provide a digital representation of the US dollar, at the same time utilizing the benefits of blockchain technology. And it's so critical to understand, guys, that each Pax Dollar token is backed by an equivalent amount of US dollar, which is held in reserves by Paxos, and this backing ensures that the value of Pax Dollar remains stable at 1 Pax Dollar, which is equivalent to 1 US dollar. And Paxos, guys, has obtained a charter from New York State Department of Financial Services, allowing it to offer regulated services within the cryptocurrency world. And this regulatory oversight adds a layer of trust and accountability to Pax Dollar system. And last week, guys, we also talked about Binance, and they were actually going ahead and launching another stable coins, and they were doing that in partnership with Paxos, and I believe it was called as PYUSD. But unfortunately, they did face some hiccups, and that was due to some technical error. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Binance's new stablecoin materializes. Now let me very briefly run through the blockchain integration and security of Pax Dollar, because Pax Dollar cards operates on the Ethereum blockchain. Similar to other cryptocurrencies like Ether, this means that transactions involving Pax Dollar tokens are executed on a secure and decentralized platform. And in cases of security threats, Paxos has the ability to temporarily pause transactions to protect user funds and maintain the system's integrity. This, to be honest, guys, is a massive big no, because when you talk about the ethos of open blockchain, looks like stable coins do not follow the ethos of open blockchains, and your transactions can be 100% censored. And we also talked about Tether USDT and Circle USDC, where they actually froze over $65 million worth of transactions. Now granted, the intentions were great, but when you talk about blockchain technology, there cannot be any double spending, and this was the sole creation of Bitcoin, because the transactions have to be peer-to-peer, and there should be no central entity, no central mediary. But in case of Paxos, it's so critical to understand that Paxos has the ability to temporarily pause transactions to protect user funds and maintain the system's integrity. A massive red flag. Now let me very briefly run through the conversion and integration of Pax Dollar, because Pax Dollar, guys, can be easily converted to US dollar through Paxos. And if a user wants to redeem their Pax Dollar tokens, they can send them to a specific address which is controlled by Paxos, which will then destroy the tokens and transfer the equivalent amount in regular US currency to the user's bank account. And this integration between digital and traditional currencies offers user flexibility. And finally, guys, Pax Dollar existence on a public blockchain like Ethereum enables it to be used on various platforms, applications, and exchanges, and the security protocols is in place and based on established smart contract libraries which have been tested and proven to enhance security and minimize risks. So overall, guys, Pax Dollar, as USDP, is a stable coin and regulated digital asset that combines stability of the US dollar with the benefits of blockchain technology, and it offers a secure, fast, and accessible way to transact in digital dollars, making it an attractive option for individuals and businesses seeking a reliable and efficient means of conducting financial transactions in the digital age. Now let me very briefly run through some of the metrics of our Pax Dollar is concerned, because via coin market cap, guys, it is currently ranked number 74th, and if you look at its market cap, it is a little over the $500 million mark, and as of today, it is only at $504 million. But if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, guys, it is only at $1.9 million. But that being said, guys, it looks like it is definitely a promising protocol, but your transactions can be 100% censored. Now, guys, let's look at the king of all kings and transactions that cannot be censored, and that is Bitcoin. And unfortunately, guys, the price of Bitcoin is well below the $30,000 mark, and it is at $29,407. And since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 0.01%. And since the last 7 days, it is marginally up by 1.21%. Now, guys, on the 10th of August, the CPI numbers were out, and unfortunately, the consumer price index or inflation did actually rise by 0.2%, and people were under the impression that because of this news, the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will slightly fluctuate, but unfortunately, there has been not much movement so far as the CPI numbers are concerned and the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And listen, guys, if you do want to look at the inflation numbers, the only website to look at is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So if you're someone who's trying to look at inflation and try to see some correlation between the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and inflation, what I'd really urge you to do is go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. all of the details regarding inflation is actually mentioned in that, and they've also got and explain how the inflation is calculated and quite a lot of other. The mind you guys, Jerome Powell, based on these numbers, will be adjusting the interest rate hike, and most likely that will take place towards the mid of September, and that news will impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now Ethereum guys is at $1,857, and since the last 24 hours it is marginally up by 0.56%, and since the last 7 days it is up by 1.50%. Binance BNB Coin guys is relatively steady, and since the last 24 hours it is marginally up by 0.40%, and it is priced at $241, and since the last 7 days it is marginally down by 0.67%. Now look guys, last week there was so much news regarding stablecoins. We actually talked about Ripple getting into stablecoins, and looks like Ripple is also getting involved in central bank digital currency as well. And last week guys, Hedera, they did actually go live on the YouTube platform, and they discussed some bits and pieces of information about their intentions of getting into stablecoins. And the massive news was regarding PayPal. They also announced launch of stablecoins, which is going to take effect from September, and they're doing that in partnership with Paxdollar as well. And even Binance a week before that did actually launch a new stablecoins. Unfortunately, they had to stop it because of some technical errors. So I'm a bit perplexed to understand why the volumes is ridiculously down, and having the stablecoin volume down is definitely not an ideal thing. And apart from that guys, stablecoins is also accounting for 92% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume, so something shady is definitely going on, particularly in 2023. And look guys, I've been tracking these numbers on a daily basis, and since 2020, on an average given day, the stablecoin volume used to hover somewhere between the $60 billion mark, certain cases $80 billion mark, and I very specifically remember the day Bitcoin became a legal tender in El Salvador, the entire global cryptocurrency market crashed. The price of Bitcoin went down by $8,000, and on that very specific day, only the 24-hour trading volume of Tether USDT was at a staggering $162 billion, and the volume of all stable coins was around the $184 billion. And apart from those metrics guys, even on an average given day in 2020, 2021 and 2022, the volume of stable coins definitely used to hover somewhere between the $40 to $80 billion range. This year it is a bit strange that the volume of stablecoins is going below the $20 billion mark. Definitely something shady going on. And what is a bit surprising guys is that the market cap of Tether USDT is on an incline, and it is hovering somewhere between the $83 billion mark. So a lot of crazy things going on in the world of stablecoins, and one of the biggest anomalies of our stablecoins is concerned is that of Binance BUSD. Binance BUSD's market cap was on the verge of crossing the $16 billion mark. Unfortunately guys, it is on the verge of going below the $3 billion mark, and to be honest guys, this might just be the very second time in the history of Binance BUSD where the 24-hour trading volume has gone below the $1 billion mark. So to be honest guys, this week I'm definitely going to pay a lot of attention to what is going on in the world of stable coins, and I'm hoping that we do not find out some major notorious activity that just might shake up the cryptocurrency world. But one person who is shaking up the Bitcoin world is that Michael Saylor. And MicroStrategy's former CEO Michael Saylor did have a podcast with Coin Stories, and in that podcast what he tried to explain is that Bitcoin being bought and custodied by corporation should not be feared, and he outlined 3 reasons, that is technical, political and natural. Now listen guys, I did listen to the YouTube, and to be honest guys, it is absolutely horrendous what MicroStrategy is saying. And Michael Saylor guys was the CEO of MicroStrategy, and he recently discussed why he believes that the corporate giants purchasing and holding Bitcoin shouldn't be a cause of concern, and he highlighted 3 criteria. And the first reason he talks about is political reasons, and Michael Saylor points out that political factors play a role in needing custodians for Bitcoin. What he's saying guys is that if you live in a certain city, state or country, there might be regulations or circumstances that make it necessary to involve third-party custodians, and he uses the analogy of a mayor or government entity still having control over certain things despite individual desires. Definitely not ideal. And he also talked about certain political factors that might necessitate the involvement of custodians. I really am not sure guys why he's the advocate of Bitcoin. He should be one of the last people to be actually talking in one of the Bitcoin conferences. Now he also talked about some technical considerations, and Michael Saylor does actually envision a future where Bitcoin is integrated into various layers, and he explains that Bitcoin itself is like a base layer, And on top of that, there will be additional layers for faster transactions and more functionality. And I'm pretty much sure he's talking about Lightning Network and Liquid Network. But what he does is he gives the example of Bank of America and Apple that are actually serving as layer 3 custodians, offering services to people who want to transact in Bitcoin using the mobile payments. And what he talks about is that these third-party services will provide convenience and speed for everyday transactions. And finally, guys, he discusses some points called as natural circumstances. And Michael Saylor does actually argue that there are natural circumstances where people might prefer to have custodians and the Bitcoin holdings. And he gives the example of an elderly dealing with Alzheimer's disease or someone wanting to secure assets for a future grandchild who isn't even born yet. And he's actually advocating for Bitcoin custodians that might provide a sense of security and practicality. And in that podcast, guys, Michael Saylor emphasizes that there won't be one-size-fits-all approach to using Bitcoin. And in that podcast, what he's saying is that as the adoption of Bitcoin grows and it becomes integrated into various aspects of society, people will find different ways to interact with it. And according to him, some might actually prefer self-custody, while others may choose third-party custodians for various reasons. Now look, guys, I'm not a massive advocate of Michael Saylor at all, and maybe he just needs to read the second line of Bitcoin white paper, because the second line of Bitcoin white paper states that the main benefits of creating Bitcoin is lost if a central mediary or entity is required to prevent double spending. And look, guys, I'm not a massive fan of Michael Saylor, and one of the biggest worries is, what if he decides to go ahead and dump all of his Bitcoins? And one of the things, guys, what really stood out for me is when he talked about Turkey. And listen to the part where he talks about Turkey. It is roughly between the 36 minutes to 40-minute mark. And to be honest, guys, he sounds absolutely like a scammer. He does actually sound similar to BitConnect, guys. And he does actually give a very bad impression regarding Bitcoin. What he's actually saying is that if people were to buy Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin will pump and more people will go ahead and buy Bitcoin. And the way he's saying it, guys, he does actually sound like he's promoting an MLM, that is a multi-level marketing scheme. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is not that. And to be honest, guys, some of the thing that he tweets is absolutely misleading and incorrect. And in essence, guys, in that podcast, Michael Saylor's perspective is that Bitcoin's increasing integration into various aspects of life will lead to a variety of use cases and methods of custody, and this diversity should be embraced rather than feared. And look, guys, one thing which I've mentioned so many times is, what if BlackRock, that does have a massive involvement and stake in MicroStrategy, forces Michael Saylor to go ahead and dump the coin? The price of Bitcoin will completely collapse. And another thing to truly realize is that Michael Saylor is one of the key members of Crypto Council Innovation, and Crypto Council Innovation is actually focusing on Bitcoin mining. And if you know, BlackRock is heavily invested in ESG, and could it be possible that they might force Michael Saylor to directly or indirectly force to change the underlying protocol of Bitcoin mining consensus from proof of work to proof of stake, knowing the power of BlackRock and Michael Saylor actually advocating centralization of Bitcoin? I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes ahead and does that. And look, guys, the simple question is this: why is Michael Saylor advocating Bitcoin? And the answer is pretty simple. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy have X number of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, as you know, guys, the supply is fixed, and because there is no central mediary or entity involved, Michael Saylor is trying to create the demand for Bitcoin, so the price of Bitcoin will increase. And I wouldn't be surprised once the price goes up, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy will start dumping some of their Bitcoin. So MicroStrategy, according to me, guys, is definitely not a person we should be advocating or getting associated with Bitcoin. And look, guys, he's advocating for centralization of Bitcoin, which according to me is an absolutely massive no. Now, guys, let's discuss some news regarding Core Finance. And Core Finance did actually have an exploit, and at that point of time, guys, because of the exploit, there was a possibility of more than $100 million worth of cryptocurrencies that were at a risk. And what I did was, on the episode that was released on the 31st of July, I went ahead and explained what that hack is, so please feel free to go ahead and check it out. Now, looks like there is some positive update, and Core Finance vows to reimburse users, and the platform did actually mention via Twitter that 70% of funds attacked by the hack has been recovered, and an active investigation with regards to reset is underway. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, if you're someone who's affected by it, make sure you go ahead and follow their tweets, because they put out a series of tweets. And they've also mentioned that in the meantime, the team are also working on measuring the respective shares of each affected users with the goal of proper distribution. So definitely check it out. Now guys, let's discuss some update regarding ARK Investments Bitcoin ETF. And looks like guys, they actually filed the Bitcoin ETF roughly a month before the BlackRock Spot ETF. And I believe guys, the deadline was on the 13th of August by when the SEC had to reply to them. And because 13th of August was on a Sunday, looks like they did give some update on the 12th of August. So let me go ahead and explain what that news is all about, because News BTC has reported that the US Security and Exchange Commission has moved to delay ARK Investment and 21 shares Bitcoin ETF in a move that could be seen as a delay tactic by the regulator. Now here's the important bit guys, and it's important to note that the general public has 3 weeks to give further comments on the proposal, while the SEC has another 5 weeks to respond to any comments it may receive. And furthermore guys, the SEC can choose to extend the deadline by another 240 days at maximum, a move that could potentially delay a final response until 10th of January 2024. So what happened is that guys, Catherine Wood's ARK Investment in 21 shares had collaborated again to refile for a spot Bitcoin ETF earlier this year, and looks like that was a month before the BlackRock Spot ETF, and they did that after the SEC rejected previous applications. And guys, following the standard procedures, the SEC was meant to approve or disapprove the application by August 13th. However guys, with its last order calling for public input on ARK Investment 21 shares, this deadline is consequently extended. Now to be honest guys, this move by SEC was not a surprise by Catherine Wood, because she did have an interview with Bloomberg and she did actually anticipate a delay in what is going to take place. So definitely not surprising, but definitely shocking I guess. Now guys, let's discuss 2 news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East, and both the news guys, to be honest, are positive news in the world of metaverse and blockchain. And the first news is about 2454. So let me go ahead and explain what that news is all about, because it looks like 2454 has unveiled a metaverse-enabled film production studio in Abu Dhabi. But before we get into that, let me very briefly run through what 2454 is. And the website guys is 2454.com. And 2454 guys is a media-free zone that provides world-class infrastructure and support services that enable the creative community to bring their ideas to life. And 2454 Abu Dhabi is part of AdNet Group, and they actually unveiled the plans to build a major film studio called as 2454 Studios, reinforcing Abu Dhabi's standing as a global epicenter for filmmaking. And they're set to span over 100 acres, and 2454 Studio guys will be a future-proof, virtual production-ready, metaverse-enabled and fully fleshed production destination, addressing high demand in the regional and global production landscape. And so far as the news is concerned guys, 2454 Studios plans to offer end-to-end facilities for production of all scales by 2025, and they are responding to growing demand for content in regional and global production landscape. And production destination is set to significantly contribute to the economy through rapid growth of strategically important sectors. And Abu Dhabi's 2454 did actually unveil 2454 Studios, which is a significant film production complex encompassing 100 acres and is designed to be state-of-the-art metaverse-enabled and future-proof, and they're aiming to meet surging demands in global and regional production landscapes. And this studio guys is metaverse-enabled, adapting to emerging content creation trends, designed to integrate seamlessly into the evolving metaverse concept. And they plan to bridge the gaps between physical and virtual realms in content production, and they span 400,000 square meters and features 11 advanced sound stages. And they also include a 3,000 square meter exterior water tank and 6 standing sets, and they offer 7,000 square meters of office space and versatile production facilities. And to be honest guys, these encompass post-production, permanent tenancies and screening rooms, highlighting creative industries as a priority sector for Abu Dhabi's growth, and they contribute to value, job creation and social significance. So definitely positive news. And more importantly guys, they align with Abu Dhabi's ambition to be a global content creation center, and it's set for completion in 2025, driving advancements in film and TV production. And it extends beyond production to create a collaborative ecosystem. And 224 also accommodates permanent tenants and production-focused entities, and nurture a metaverse-inspired atmosphere of interactive content creation. And Mark Whitehead, who is the CEO of 2454, leverages years of global film industry expertise, and 2454 Studio guys embodies the integration of metaverse principles into the film production landscape, anticipating a collaborative and innovative future for content creation. And to be honest guys, this news just might be mainstream, let's say 5 to 8 years from now. So definitely a very bold and definitely a very positive news. Now guys, let's discuss the second news, and that is also to do with Abu Dhabi. And the news is that 42 Abu Dhabi did actually host session on blockchain technology and cloud engineering, and they did that in collaboration with leading entities. So let me go ahead and break down what this news is all about, because Abu Dhabi hosted session on blockchain and cloud engineering with leading entities, and the sessions were part of the Artificial Intelligence Summer Camp 2023, and the sessions were organized by the AI, Digital Economy and Remote Work Application Office, and 42 Abu Dhabi is a coding school, and they collaborated on these sessions. And the first session, guys, explored blockchain's role in secure transactions across industries, and the second session with AWS covered cloud engineering fundamentals as well, and the AI Summer Campus focuses on artificial intelligence and future technology, and Dr. Hassan Jara presented the first session emphasizing digital advancements and blockchain's transformative power across finance, supply chain, etc. were also discussed, and Mohammad Fazalullah Kudrat also led the cloud engineering session, and Sakar bin Khalib highlighted the camp's role in collaboration and skill development, and the campus guys empowers youth in artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud and emerging technology, and Marcus Mullah Habib of 42 Abu Dhabi stressed student preparation for digital transformation, and 42 Abu Dhabi guys was launched in 2020, and its goal is to contribute to Abu Dhabi's development through investment in innovation and education. So both the news guys was definitely positive so far as the Emirate of Abu Dhabi is concerned. So those were all the news guys from Crypto and Coffee at 8 from Blockchain DXB. In case you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. I have a question by Kaylee who asks, do you think the CPI numbers would impact the price of Bitcoin? To be honest, Kaylee, that is such a brilliant question, and to be honest, what I'm about to say next is not financial advice. And to answer your question, no, I don't think that CPI numbers this time will make a massive impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and the reason being a lot of them were actually anticipating that the inflation numbers to be high, and looks like a lot of people are actually aware of what is going on so far as macro level news regarding Bitcoin is concerned, and looks like it is already priced in. And what I do feel that this time the CPI numbers will not necessarily impact the price of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, definitely not in a positive way. Now historically what happens is, whenever Jerome Powell announces the interest rate hike, which is actually dependent on the CPI numbers, that is actually what drives the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And to be honest, Kaylee, I believe it is somewhere around mid of September is when Jerome Powell will be announcing the interest rate hike. And to be honest, Kaylee, that interest rate hike does actually impact us in our day-to-day life, and that actually drives the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So definitely a brilliant question, and one thing which I did mention earlier on as well, what I'd really recommend you to do is go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, because what it does is it also gives different sectors as to which sector has actually increased so far as inflation is concerned, and which sector has actually gone down so far as inflation is concerned, and so far as Bitcoin is concerned. There are very few sectors that are related to the price of Bitcoin, but to answer your question, no, I don't think that the CPI numbers would be impacting the price of Bitcoin this particular week. But to answer your question, no, I don't think the CPI numbers will actually impact the price of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. But what I do feel, Kaylee, is that news surrounding Bitcoin spot ETF, that will definitely drive the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And one thing which Michael Saylor did actually mention in his podcast is that once the Bitcoin spot ETF is approved, there is a possibility of the price of Bitcoin to shoot to roughly around 100,000 overnight. Now, as I mentioned earlier, all price predictions are 100% right, 50% of the time. And so far as price predictions are concerned, Kaylee, I would definitely not recommend to listen to absolutely anyone, because the cryptocurrency world is absolutely chaotic. And one thing which I did actually mention in my Crypto and Coffee Day podcast last week is there are 3 macro level factors that you need to be looking at. The first one is the Bitcoin spot ETF. The second one is the US election that is going to take place next year. And the third one, and the most important one, is the Bitcoin halving. And because of Bitcoin halving, the supply would get reduced into half. And those are the news that will actually drive the price of Bitcoin either in a positive way or in a negative way. But so far as Bitcoin halving is concerned, I'm definitely hoping that the price definitely pumps up. But once again, not financial advice, Kayleen. And that's about all, guys, on Crypto and Coffee Date from Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And guys, remember, Monday to Thursdays 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee Date where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And how the series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee Date works is we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact on the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.